This Forvert backpack is a pretty nice all-day, everyday backpack, and here is why. Actually, let's try to move a little bit. Not so close to the video, because, not the video, but of course the recording thing. So now, here is why I used this for years, and you can still use it, even though I kind of needed a bigger bag. So the thing is, I actually need to connect my headphones right now, because otherwise I'm not able to function as a recording thing. Because I'm used to this kind of sound, I guess. So now, what you actually can try with this backpack is, you cannot really try something with this backpack. It just is a backpack. The thing is, it actually is a really nice backpack. Apart from having like a stiff back, which would produce less heat when, for example, cycling. This comes in really handy when regarding a lot of things. First of all, it has these very handy straps. This means you can't just use these straps, and actually it's much more stable on your back. That's the first thing. The next thing is that it has these very nice side pockets. And these very nice side pockets allow you to basically put in stuff on the sides. And since there are also these things that are basically, you can use them, and then you can just close the side pockets, kind of, as you can see here. Then the stuff that's in here, it's not as easily falling out, which is then kind of nice in return. The next step is that you have these things, these straps on here, and what you actually can use it for, and this is also what it's kind of intended to be used for, is you can just use them. And I just may turn the video a little bit, the phone down, therefore you can see the back actually a little bit better, and I don't have to talk into the camera all the time. Therefore, what you can use this for either, so there's this strap that's already here, but there is also this actual thing that you can also release again, and you can use it to just mount your skateboard on your backpack. And this is something that comes in very handy, because you not only can mount on your skateboard, but also other things. What I used it for is actually, I just used this as a strap and then just put additional bags on it. Because additional bags, for example, for your thing that goes around here, you can just use it and just put additional bags on here. So I had like 2 additional bags on here, which I used for storing in, for example, toiletry stuff. Whenever you have dinner somewhere else and you actually want to brush your teeth, I mean, that's not like something that's totally necessary, but it's something I did in the last years, and therefore I just had things like these in there every single time. And also, if you, for example, go if you are, I mean, these are just examples for using toiletry, and of course it makes sense to have it within your everyday backpack, but I think it depends, I guess. So the next thing is that you can put, this is not the next thing, but the thing I just previously stated, you can use these straps to just mount anything onto the backpack. You can use them to mount also the backpack onto another backpack. For example, you could theoretically connect 2 of these backpacks by just using them, and then just putting in here another backpack entirely, which would also work, and then it would be properly fixed. So the thing is, with many backpacks, they only have like one big pocket. So let's now talk about the pockets. But the thing is, with this one, it has like 2 pockets. So it's actually this one, which I used for many different things, and then there's the bigger one. The small bummer is that it doesn't have like a dedicated notebook space. So sometimes, or often, backpacks like these just have something where you can actually slide in your notebook, which comes in very handy, because then you don't have to have a notebook sleeve, because it's already attached to your bag. So this is kind of very big, and this is what I used in the past for one, putting my notebook in, but also for additional files, since in the past this was something you still kind of had to have. Additional files and also folders. I used it for school and also for studying, I guess. It's actually the bag that I bought when I first started studying, and I just used it, even though it was kind of heavy, and then I eventually switched to a bigger bag, because these folders are just, I had many still not hard, but analog stuff, which means a lot of paper stuff, and therefore I just used a different bag, because this was too thin, but this was like the ideal. And ever since I got rid of all these, I scanned all these files basically, and then but it's just beside the video, I guess. The points are beside the video, because this is about the bag. So now we have this pocket again, and the thing is, it just allows you to have a separation in between the big files, for example, in the back, because otherwise, if you have like only one, what usually happens is that you have your notebook and also folders, and then the stuff you put in here just gets thrown in between basically the folders, and then it just sits there and you cannot really have access to it. So this comes in very handy, also because you then can just have a separation, as I already said. So I used it for having my lunch in whenever I had like boxes with lunch, but I also just used it for actually putting my chargers in. So in the past years, I developed like a system where I had like 2 of these pencil cases. I just get one of these. I guess I could have paused the video, but I didn't. So I had just 2 of these bags. One comes with 2 like multi-chargers, also charging my notebook, and the other one is now still I am almost fully digital, I would say. So this is like a small charger, so this is one bag, and then I have also my digital pen here and also another case, so just in case, I guess. Then this, actually I use this to put in all my chargers in here, because let's face it, I mean, you have your phone, you have your headphones, you have maybe a battery bank, you have maybe your notebook you want to charge, and if you are on the go, it doesn't really make sense to just not be able to charge these things, and only having one charger is kind of too little. Therefore so my charging station is connected to my office desk, I guess. Therefore I'm not showing it to you right now, but I just used it to put in the stuff here. And I also used it to, very handy, what comes in very handy is having water bottles that aren't like 1 liter, but if you want to keep 1 liter, get instead like these little bottles with 0.5 liters, so basically 500 milliliters. So this is not a bottle I had in the past. I just used this very compact bottles, but the thing is, if you now have a bottle like these, you can just put it in here, and the weight distribution is actually equally, so on both sides. This means you don't have like a very chunky water bottle. Of course, you could also like put in a bigger water bottle in here, but then it's also very flush if you have like the smaller ones. That's what I'm saying. And therefore, I just put one of these in here, and they're just in here. And also, they were almost the same size as these cases, so I also just put them here, and whenever I had something like a lunch with me, I just put it on top with a lunchbox, and that's essentially what I did. I also used this for traveling, and this is where a huge part of this also comes in. So I basically put in my toiletry bag in here together with the cases, and I didn't take food with me most of the time, so therefore I just had my notebook in here, or other big things in here. And now here's a big other hack with these straps, what you can actually use them for. So there are these gym bags, you know them, like from, you maybe used one of these to carry your stuff whenever you were young, like going to school with you. But the thing is that you can't just attach them to here. Then you can just basically, what I did is I just put all my like tech and also the heavy stuff in the bag, and the bag is very small. And for example, whenever I traveled for a weekend into a city to visit a friend, for example, I just took all the clothes, and even when in winter, this still worked. So, I mean, the clothes for one weekend aren't that much or that many, and therefore you can just take them and having like this big bag, and then just put this big bag with all the clothes on here. What this also allows you is you can just detach this big clothes bag whenever you go then into a Flixbus or into a train, and just use this very handy little bag for having access to your notebook and all of your chargers, and just get rid of the other stuff. Or whenever you then are at a friend or are in the hostel or something like this, the problem, of course, if you have only one backpack, you kind of need to repack your backpack for the day. And if you have all of your stuff separated like this, then you just need to decide which jacket or which pants you want to take with you or wear, and then just take out all the other stuff and just put it aside. And since clothes aren't that expensive, this also is a very nice hack, because then if you clothes, I mean, in case your clothes get stolen, then at least you hadn't stolen, then at least it wasn't like your whole bag with all your papers and your cards, your credit cards, for example, in it. Therefore, you just take all the inexpensive stuff that's also taking most of the volume, which are the clothes, and sometimes also sleeping bags and stuff like this. Just take them off, and then you have like your normal everyday backpack like you also would have at home, because the only big differentiation is like the toiletry bag. Of course, also sleeping stuff, it depends if you are at a hostel or at a friend. Sometimes you get you get provided with the stuff, sometimes you don't. But the thing is, you can't just take out your toiletry bag, which you won't use for the day, and then you also just take off the clothes of the bag, so the clothes bag, and then you just have your normal backpack with you like you would in any other city, and therefore for you it's not that big of a difference. Also in terms of habit and in terms of memorizations of where actually all of your things are, it's just your everyday backpack. It's the same backpack you have with you all the time, therefore the risk of losing things is just much lower if you just have the exact same backpack with all the stuff packed exactly the same. So let's go through the other things I used in here. So basically here I usually put in my portemonnaie. I mean, it's not like very thief-proof, you could say, because it's very accessible. That's a big bummer. I also put in things here like additional passports or a power bank and maybe some tissues, because whenever you have this on, what this allows you to do is very easily, you can just turn it around and then just grab it in here and then just get it and then just put it back. This is something that's came in so handy so often. The same with these. So of course it depends on which hand you are dominant, I guess. The most are right dominant. But the thing is, so much about getting access to these external pockets. Now the thing is, you also had something in here, and what I used it for is I already made like a video about it where I actually in real life. So this is actually really what I did, is I used this bag and I basically packed it. So I packed all the stuff into a bigger bag, into a hiking bag, which I now use as a daily driver, basically, because this was just too small for many occasions. And now, whenever I, for example, need to get groceries, I just use the big bag. And I also have like a bag in the big bag, which I then take out, and then I can just get groceries with the bike, which is very nice, I guess. And this means this was just, so I have like one bag for everything. I can also put my huge camera in there. So this is like the bigger bag. But if you are interested in this, I have like a real life video that's very long, but I just recorded it in case someone found it useful. And also I explain all the details of how you actually use the hiking bag and what I used this bag for in more detail than in this video. So what I used this bottom bag for is for things that I needed to also have access. The thing is, it just has very many little pockets, even though it's not a very big bag. And this means that you can't just access all of the stuff from outside with like one zipper. And this comes in very handy. For example, what I had in here is like a rain jacket. I just had a rain jacket with me all the time, and whenever it rains, I just took it out. Also, if I ever needed a jacket, for example in summer, you just go out with your shorts and your t-shirt, and whenever it gets cold, you just have a jacket with you. And this is not a very big bag, so therefore I just randomly had like a jacket with me. Also, because I cycle a lot, I just also had like a little bike pump in here. And also I had for shopping, I had like this grocery bag in here. And therefore whenever I was like, oh yeah, I should go grocery shopping, and I just came home from somewhere, then I just took it out and I just had all the groceries in the external bag and just still had this backpack. Also, when you go into shops, for example, with a hiking bag, you are almost, it's not very nice to have a bag that's very voluminous, that's extending very much into, or that's just very thick. That's what I'm saying. Another thing is that, I mean, until it broke down, so you had these rubber bands here, which you then could use in addition with these straps to additionally secure your clothes bag or whatever you wanted to attach to it, because you just had this and you then just could actually release it. And yeah. Now, what are other things I wanted to tell you about this bag? I guess, I mean, you also had these straps on the sides. For example, if you had like something like a video rig, or not like a video rig, but something like a gorilla pod. I actually just get my... So if you are maybe a video creator or someone who does photography, then you can just use it and just put in your thing here and then actually attach it to the bag. So just put the bottom in here, into this, and I think it would take a while to just fully put it in. And then you can just use the strap and attach it. And then you have like, it also works with bigger things, of course, and also works with like very long water bottles, but you probably won't have a water bottle that's this long. A water bottle, that's a very American thing to say. water and bottled. Now, finally, so I had like basically a very little version of my normal travel toiletry bag in here. So basically you have three versions of your toiletry stuff. You have the version that's in your home, in your bathroom. Then you have a version that's your travel toiletry bag. So when you get this, you have all the miniature version of the big things like a small shampoo and stuff like this. But what I found, what also comes in very handy, also when going for day trips into a city, what comes in very handy is just having all these items in here. For example, if your hands just get really dry up to the point where this is just something sometimes happens, there are just these cases where you just want to have something like this, or you get, for example, you get a sunburn because sometimes you lie somewhere like in the grass or in a park, and then you just sleep, and then sometimes you just get a sunburn and your skin is totally red, and then you just want to have these things in here. That's what I'm saying. Or sometimes you, for example, cycle through a city and then you're totally sweaty and you just want to have something like a deodorant. And having just a miniature version, so basically your normal toiletry bag, your travel toiletry bag, and then just putting miniature versions like a very small toothbrush, like sunscreen, like a deodorant, or what else did I have in here? Yeah, like soap. Sometimes in very public toilets you don't have like a soap, and that comes in very handy. And then you just put them in here, or just like a comb or a hairbrush, which comes in very handy often. And then you just put them in here, and you can just. So since most of these items are like this long, this was like fitting into this thing very nicely, and therefore you could just open it and then get the item and then just close it again. And also, you didn't even have to get your normal backpack off. You just took it and made it open, and then I just took the item and just, yeah, that's it. That's basically why this Forvert backpack is a really nice backpack. Even it broke down, but it only broke down like after a few years. So basically the zipper is kind of, here the zipper isn't attached to it. I already used some clamps here, for example. I already used it because it just broke on so many levels, therefore. And also I just stitched it already here because it broke down. So in terms of longevity, it may not be the best bag, but it's a bag that's only like $60 on Amazon, and it's just very handy, and I just used it for years, and this was the reason I wanted to at least, yeah, put out all the stuff I used it for. I guess that's the end. Ciao.